SGA once again. Little hesitation. The left hand. What a move by SGA.
Attacker for another block.
Chet Holmgren, the long arm of the law. Back in the game. These are key minutes without SGA. And another drive. J. Dom cocks it back and throws it down.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested Podcast, coming to you live Tuesday, May 20th, on the heels of a Game 1 win in the Western Conference Finals. OKC blows out the Minnesota Timberwolves in the second half for a 114-88 win. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffin. We're two-turned. We got the whole squad here at 11:15 p.m. I got J.D. Silva.
Fellas.
This shit means something to me, man.
I got Justin Peabody.
Hello, everybody.
I got Taylor Peterson.
That's how you start a series, boys. Foul grifting and fouling every possession defensively when the refs won't call it, apparently. That's what Twitter's telling me.
And we have Nick Crane.
New day, new series, still introed last.
And still love just as much.
Yeah.
That's right. We
Saving
saved
the best for last, Nick. We just had to save your horrible audio quality for last. I kid.
AirPods tonight. Let's go.
Hey, we are brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network and our buddies over at Prairie Artisan Ales. I always
Nick's
say that
drinking a Prairie right now.
I say that and I wait for somebody to hold up a Prairie. Nick, what do you
There
got?
it is.
I'm cracking it. It's a Patches. It's one of my go-tos.
Whoa.
That was insanely crispy.
Even through the AirPods.
Yeah, the
Let's
AirPods
go.
maybe made it more
Better.
Apple's noise cancellation must not be working because it's definitely not my voice. That's what it's supposed to be funneling through.
Yeah, so go hang out at Prairie. Go hang out at Prairie Saturday night at 7:30. Get you some $3 beers and watch Game 3. That would be a good time. That would be a good time. You can also follow us on all social media channels. If you're not subbed to the YouTube channel, you should be. Make sure to go sub there. You can see us live after each game. And in the top left corner of your screen, there's a QR code to join the Patreon. You get in the Discord through the Patreon. The Discord has been an absolute joy. They were lively tonight and an awesome Thunder win. You can find us on all other social media channels. Anything else I need to plug? Dave, we need the super chat, Dave.
The people are
Come on,
already
Dave.
yearning for Dave in the
Dave,
chat.
you got to come through,
Dave.
brother.
The legend of Dave. We
Help
do have a
us, Dave.
super chat from Nathaniel Brown coming out the gate. Kenny Hustle, a plus 19 in 9 minutes. Dog. Thunder up 7 more.
Can't wait to touch on Kenny Hustle and his game today. Pretty
Can't wait to.
to touch.
You can't say that.
Buddy.
114-88 OKC Thunder over the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. I want to read you guys some team stats, and then we will dive into breaking down this game. The Wolves actually take one more shot than the Thunder, 83-82 on field goal attempts. The makes, very different. OKC shoots 50% from the field to Minnesota's 35%. Minnesota takes 30 more three-point attempts than the Thunder, 51-21. Wolves shoot 29%. Thunder shoot 52%. Free throws, not a huge discrepancy, 26-21. Rebounds pretty close, 42-46. Assists were a big one, 18-27 in favor of OKC. Thunder had 13 steals and 3 blocks. Wolves had 19 turnovers. I said they'd have 20 plus per game. I was close. Close. Thunder scored 31 points off those 19 turnovers. Wolves had 0 fast break points to the Thunder's 12. Points in the paint were 54-20.
That is domination. And it's
22
not free throw
22 fouls
related.
apiece. A technical foul on each side. Who from the Thunder got a tech?
It was a 3-second violation.
Yeah.
Or 5
On
seconds.
Shai,
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. Okay. There's all your statistics for the game. Felt like it was a tale of two halves. Nick, why don't you lead us off? Just thoughts, feelings, insights, takeaways, emotions, prophecies. I don't have anything else to say there. What do you got, Nick?
A lot. Where do I start? I guess I have to start with it's one game. It's not the series. While you should feel confident after this game, it's not over. I think the second half was the story. Oklahoma City, they would have won anyways, but the fact that it was a 4-point game at half was a massive, 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 massive plus for the Thunder, given how they played in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Second half stuff, just to point out a few things. Who do you guys think was Minnesota's leading scorer in the second half?
Hey, it's gonna be someone like Mike Conley, like a
Mike
weird,
Conley was going to be my guess.
or
It
Nikhil.
was second with 7 points.
Hey, pause, timeout. You can finish that in a second. The GOAT is here.
Dave.
Oh my gosh. Dave with the super chat. I got you, bro. 5 for 5 and counting. Also, I feel like Alex Caruso is becoming the closer pitcher of this team, Mariano Rivera of the Thunder, if you will.
Ooh.
Love
I like
that.
that
Our guy
comp.
Dave coming through again.
comp.
That means
Dave.
go ahead
Game
and
two win.
make your bets. Game 2 win. Lock it in.
Your mortgage, put it on game 2.
Oh God!
For
Blame
legal
it on
purposes,
Dave.
that's a joke.
Yes.
So Conley
Leading
was
score in the second
with 7
half,
points.
was it
Conley
DiVincenzo?
was second
Conley was second.
with 7
Was it
points.
DiVincenzo?
He had 6. He was third.
I know it wasn't Randall. I know it wasn't Ant. So
Was it
they
Randall?
really have options.
Was it
It
Randall
was Randall
with 8?
What?
with 8 points.
20 in the
8
first half, 8 in the second.
points was their second.
And he
leading
only
scorer.
had 2, I think, in the third quarter, right?
Third quarter, Julius Randle had
He had none.
0 points.
Yeah,
Wow.
Randall had nothing
All
in
late
the
before the
third.
That's
The
impressive.
defense really strapped in. So that's the
That's
first
an
thing is,
understatement, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, to not have a single guy in the second half scoring double digits is bonkers. Ant was the team's worst plus minus in the second half. He
And
was
for the game.
minus 26 for the game. He was a minus 23 or 26 in the second half, minus 23 for the game. So just thinking out loud about things I don't expect next game. That's probably one of them. I also don't expect the open threes to continue to not fall. It felt like they were the Thunder in that game. Like they were getting looks they probably love. I'm not playing devil's advocate here. I'm like actually speaking on what I actually think will happen. I don't think
I've got
that
you
will
on that,
happen.
Nick. If you want me to jump
I don't-
in,
Yeah,
shout
please
out
jump in,
Stat
Psych.
Williams.
I
Stat
think
Williams
Go ahead.
of ESPN. Shooting on open 3-pointers in game 1 tonight. Minnesota 11 for 39 on open 3-point attempts. OKC 10 of 16, which I would just without looking and pulling that stat up in more detail, I would assume the majority of those wide open threes made for the Thunder came in the second half.
Last thing I'll say on that, I think Oklahoma City will win game 2, and that'll be a commanding series lead. But we on this podcast have said many, many, many times, shot quality is there. You're doing the right things. You're getting the shots you want. At some point, they'll fall. Timberwolves fans have every reason to think that after this game, that they even shoot halfway decent, especially with their bench, DiVincenzo and Naz Reid. This is a very different game, and I completely agree with that logic. Again, I think Thunder won game 2. I don't think it'll be a blowout.
The shot thing is interesting, Nick, because the Timberwolves previews that I listened to ahead of this game, it sounded a lot like our pod about the Thunder and every other pod about the Thunder, I'm sure, in that the guys that have been reliable in the regular season shooting the deep ball for Timberwolves have not been there in the playoffs. DiVincenzo is shooting 25% from deep on over 5.5 attempts a game in the playoffs. Their top guys in terms of attempts is Ant at over 9 a game, shooting 38.5%. Julius Randle, 5.5 attempts a game at 34.5%. Then DiVincenzo at about 5.5 per game at 25%. And then Naz Reid, a little over 4 at 46%. So Naz is getting it. Ant is being Ant, but the other guys, not so much. Naz shooting 29.4% from deep. McDaniels 34.5 from deep. It's not great. And it's probably very similar to the Thunder. So to your point, Nick, yeah, they got a lot of looks. They got a lot of good looks. The question, just like for the Thunder, is do they fall? And to your point, the more likely place they fall is probably Target Center than it is Paycom Center. But I think if you're Oklahoma City, you can live with that. If DiVincenzo is going to get up 5-6 attempts a game and shoot 25%, you can absolutely live with that. Julius Randle probably not going to do what he did in the first half in game 2. So I think it is a balancing act. They will absolutely hit shots at some point, and I had that thought too. Like with the number of attempts that they got up tonight, if that gets close to average, the game looks very different. But for tonight, it didn't.
Part of that also, though, is the Thunder just took away everything inside. Like the Wolves could not get inside to score the basketball at all. That defense, I thought the first half, besides if we want to say them missing those open threes, like is statistically an anomaly, what Julius Randle did in the first half, I don't know if that brother's ever had a half like that in his life. I mean, some of the shots he was hitting
I don't
were,
think he has.
Jacob, he hit a playoff career high and made 3-point attempts in the first half.
Half.
He was insane. But besides that, like they couldn't get stuff going inside at all. I thought the Thunder defense was so good in the paint.
That was the game plan.
Preventing everyone from getting inside. And I think we saw it a little bit tonight. And I think it's going to become more and more evident as these games go on. Guys, I think Rudy Gobert is unplayable in this series. I think every minute Rudy Gobert is on the court is an absolute win for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Hey, I agree with you, but more stats, and this is off the top of my head. I'm not reading it off, but forgot who tweeted out. Apologies. The Thunder scored 100 points per 100 possessions when Rudy Gobert was on the floor and scored like 123 per 100 possessions when Rudy Gobert was off the floor. They played much better when Rudy was off the floor. But that being said, a lot of that was due to the first half, which the Thunder played uncharacteristically. Yeah,
and offensively, Rudy kills their spacing.
He's a zero.
Absolute zero. 21 minutes tonight. 1 of 3 for 2 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, a steal, a block, and a turnover.
Yeah, like this game went. I was very relieved to know that this game went how I thought it would. None of the Denver games went how I thought it would, and I was uneasy in almost every single one of those games because the Nuggets are a high basketball IQ team with like the ultimate problem solver on their team and Jokic. And I said in our preview podcast a couple days ago, like the Timberwolves are a more talented team, like 1 through 8, 1 through 9, but they are generally an easier problem to solve. And I think that's because they're kind of the inverse of the Thunder from an archetype standpoint, where there's a lot of athletes, a lot of talent, not a lot of feel. And we saw that a lot tonight. They kind of went bozo mode. A lot of times throughout the night, that's where all these turnovers come from. The turnovers come from the Thunder forcing them to make mistakes. And I think that's going to continue to happen no matter what. I mean, you saw it in the post-game press conference. Ant and Julius Randle were like, that they didn't do anything special. They were playing AAU defense.
Laughing at the stat sheet.
Yeah, that's their mentality. They're going to try and force their way to a win in one particular way. And I just feel a lot better. I fully expect them to rebound and play better in future games. No question. They're a very talented team. But I just feel much more comfortable watching these games knowing that's the type of team we're playing against.
They did give them some props in terms of defense, but their whole demeanor post-game was really interesting. It's such a contrast to how Thunder players come to the post-game press conferences. I don't think the Timberwolves were ready for what the Thunder brought defensively. Jacob, you mentioned not being able to get into the paint. Ant talked about that. He talked about how he only had 13 shots and he felt like he couldn't get in the paint. Like he said that almost word for word in the post-game press conference. And I think that is exactly what this Thunder team wanted to do tonight at the expense of giving up some open threes. It's clear that strategy was successful tonight. It'll be interesting to see how Minnesota tries to counter.
Yeah, there was some back and forth, and tonight felt like a feeling it out type of game.
Agreed.
But some of the defensive things, like, I don't know, there were just interesting wrinkles. Like the Thunder liked J-Dub on Julius Randle a lot, so they could switch the Ant Randle pick and roll. Whenever I thought Cason just ate Ant's freaking lunch tonight. But
Cason, I can't wait to get in Cason.
The Wolves targeted the Ant Randle pick and roll because they wanted Cason on that switch, which was also interesting. So then the Thunder would go to Alex Caruso, and guys down the stretch there in about the 10-minute mark, I think, of the fourth quarter, maybe the 8-minute mark, they pull Chet off the floor and they go what I like to call the hell lineup with those 5 guards. And it was absolutely that.
5 guards of hell.
5 guards of hell. I mean,
shout out to Mark
they
Dagnall tonight.
Freaking everywhere. And the thing is, you don't feel like you can get by with J-Dub and Caruso or Caruso and Dort on those 2 bigs and Nas and Randall. You feel good about that matchup. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm like, dude, get Caruso on Randall because that guy's not doing anything there.
You know what's interesting about the small ball, which is where the Thunder had a lot of success, where they had success against Denver too, especially like late in games. Like there was a game 6, they didn't come back and win, but like it kind of got to the point where you're like, oh, are they about to do something here? Interesting stat. I don't disagree with you on Rudy Gobert being kind of unplayable, but data suggests maybe differently. Rudy Gobert, when on the floor tonight, Timberwolves have a 102.4 offensive rating. Not great, but a 102.3 defensive rating. So like almost a net neutral. What do you think Minnesota's defensive rating was when Gobert was on the bench?
86.
That would be really good, Taylor.
I know. The way you said
a
that.
A 130.2.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I think there's something
defensive
there.
Rating. Gotcha.
Yeah, defensive rating. I think there's something there. Like if the Thunder can continue to make Rudy unplayable and make this a small ball game, it's going to be tough for the Wolves to defend.
Because in the first half,
they want to run Rudy, play the single big lineup with Chet.
Yeah.
And I thought Chris Finch showed his cards pretty early because he went, and some of that was due to foul trouble. And Wolves fans are going to be all over that in their podcast and in the comments of our podcast. Can't wait.
Hey, Wolves fans, keep coming around. I like those
right.
Wolves in 4 comments we got on the preview pod.
That's right.
How's that working for you, you jackasses?
But that forced the Wolves to go small. I think for the first time in the entirety of the playoffs, in the first 2 rounds, they went with a lineup without either of Nas or Rudy Gobert. Or maybe it was Randall Gobert. I can't remember whatever I saw. But regardless, they went small early in the first half, and it didn't work. They aren't able to match the Thunder's versatility, just like Nick was alluding to.
Yep. We got a super chat from our guy Danny, who said, loved how we didn't have a bunch of threes, drive to the lane, and draw fouls. And I think it was impressive to see the Thunder figure it out because in the first half, they were driving to the lane a lot. They got fouls in the first quarter. Second quarter, the whistle slowed up, and they still couldn't finish. And it felt a little bit like they were forcing it without necessarily converting by just continually driving it into the lane. They eventually found their shot, and I was not paying close enough attention to know when and where Rudy was on versus off during that. But I think it is interesting to see Oklahoma City be able to find success at the rim in the second half like they did today.
Absolutely. Hey, Justin, can we go to the King of the Prairie?
Sure. We sure can. King of the Prairie brought to you by Prairie Artisan Ales. Prairie dropped a new beer today, Strawberry Soulmate, which is a strawberry lemonade sour, which I will definitely be picking up on my next trip to Prairie.
Mamma mia. That sounds
Mamma
good.
mia.
That's what I call Nick when we're in Vegas.
Strawberry Soulmate.
JD,
Yep.
who is your King of the Prairie tonight?
A lot of options here. A lot of options. I could go with a ceremonial King of the Prairie. I could go for a real King of the Prairie. Let me go with a ceremonial King of the Prairie because he probably will never get one again. The leader of the unction, Kenrich Williams.
Yes. My man.
Hadn't played a meaningful minute in 2 full rounds of the playoffs. Came in tonight and I thought was awesome. Gave him what they needed from a physicality standpoint. I think he went 3 of 3 from the field, so no complaints there. 2 of those were threes. He was a plus 19 in the game. I'll take it. Kenny Hustle.
Dude, JD, I think your description of Kenny hit it on the head. This is a series where Kenny has a matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And the level of just old man grinded out physicality, that the physical defense. I mean, there was that possession where Randall was trying to take him and Kenny like had his hands like back, was just like chesting him up. Like it was sick. Kenrich Williams was a badass.
Kenny, Wiggins, and Joe all getting quite a bit of burn tonight. I think shows one, the willingness from Mark to change it up, but again, the trust that he has in that depth. I didn't expect all 3 of those guys to get as many minutes as they did. I thought you might see some guys that couldn't sniff the floor in the Denver series, like Joe was one. I thought Wiggins was another, but Kenny, shout out Kenny. That was awesome performance.
And Mark shouted him out post game saying he hadn't gotten significant or meaningful minutes since the regular season finale. Doesn't play meaningful minutes outside of garbage time the first 2 series, and the ability and the advantage for the Thunder to just be able to throw him out, dust him off, and for him to come in that second quarter and third quarter during those stretches and do what he did. You can go small ball with him at the 5. J. Will had an incredible previous series against the Nuggets. Doesn't play tonight. He played Kenrich instead, and he's kind of the catalyst that sparks those runs for the Thunder in the second and third quarters. That's just such a luxury, and so telling of this team that the Thunder have built, that Sam Presti has built, and like you guys mentioned, the trust that I almost said Sam Presti again, that Mark Daigneault has in these guys. Just
Absolutely.
So impressive.
Nick, who is your King of the Prairie?
I'm going to go Kenny as well. I will give honorable mentions to Cason, who is really, 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 really good. I also think while the Thunder probably would have won the game anyways, Chet's fourth quarter was pretty remarkable.
I almost went with Chet.
Chet's fourth quarter was his best quarter in postseason basketball, maybe of his career.
Yep.
Maybe this postseason probably. He had 9 points. He had a triple. He had 2 offensive rebounds. Like the plus minus was not the highest in the team actually in the fourth. It was actually one of the worst at +3. But yeah, he was really, really good.
He was awesome.
Chet had an incredible fourth quarter.
Justin, who is your King of the Prairie?
I'm going to go with Cason Wallace. And shout out David Skelton with the super chat. Caso played 33 minutes tonight. Give him love. That stands out very loudly on the stat sheet to me tonight. The highest minute getters for Oklahoma City, Shai with 38, Dub and Cason both with 33. Getting some serious burn tonight. Also the second highest plus minus on the team. You had Shai at +22, Cason at +21. Only 3 points scored, but his defense on everyone, most notably Ant Edwards, was impeccable. And 7 assists for Caso tonight. That's a feature that we've not seen featured very often from Caso. Shai shouted him out post game, talking about how he played point guard in high school and growing up, but like that's an incredible performance from Cason Wallace. We've seen flashes all throughout the playoffs. I think we've all been talking about how awesome Cason is, but to see him come out in game 1 of the Western Conference Finals and play 33 minutes to that level of performance is phenomenal.
It's crazy that the Uncontested talked about on the Sunday show that
That's right.
Wallace, point guard. That's interesting.
There was a moment there in the fourth. Cason Wallace dropped Dante DiVincenzo on a crossover, took a step into the paint, lobbed it to J-Dub.
So good.
Just in time for DiVincenzo to get off the floor, run over there, and get
posterized. Not to mention his incredible pass. I think it was in the third quarter. Very similar. He's in the middle of the lane, and he drops just an absolute dime bounce pass between two defenders to a cutting Chet for one of his dunks there. It was in the fourth. Cason played an incredible game. And what's so impressive to me is we've talked, last series about, with some of the Thunder struggles, are these young guys ready for the moment? Are they able to step up? Some of them are kind of failing under pressure. Cason Wallace has just grown like in front of our eyes during these playoffs and is rising to the moment every single time. He's been so impressive.
David Skelton with another super chat. Caso showing why he will start next year.
Did you guys see the iHeart? Did you see the iHeart quote about Cason?
Magic Johnson.
I came in. Yeah. Quote. I came into the locker room today and called him Magic Johnson.
That's awesome.
Incredible.
That's TP.
Something.
Yeah.
TP, tell us real quick who's your king of the prairie?
I mean, you guys touched on all the fun ones, and I think we just have to go ahead.
Taylor's into touching folks tonight.
I know. I keep mentioning that. It's kind of my go-to tonight. Weird. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander
man on a list.
Shai is under fire from every opposing fan base, every other 29 fan bases and national media. Shai obviously got to the line quite a bit in the first quarter. He was incredibly aggressive, driving to the rim. But that second half was just like a masterclass. 31 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 10 of 27 from the floor, 0-4 from 3. Some of those threes were a little ill-advised again. 11-14 from the free throw line. Thought he played incredible defense. Shai had another MVP performance.
We've all gone different kings of the prairie. JD, someone's king of the prairie.
Yep.
Yes, he is. Shout out, Caleb.
Shout out, Caleb.
There's a question I wanted to ask about the Cason Magic Johnson comp, and I'm not going to do it on the show.
That's good.
That's growth. That's
absolutely
growth.
not.
That is growth.
Hey, should we talk about how
Can I give a king of the prairie first?
Oh, I guess. I thought you had already done it. Maybe I just skipped over that.
I'm gonna go J-Dub.
Oh.
Yeah.
7 of 18 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. The make was beautiful. The miss was an air ball. 19 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals. My favorite was there at the end of the half when Randall had that post up and J-Dub ran over there and doubled and grabbed the ball and just took it out of his hands and ran the other direction. Like, I thought he was great. Defensively, I thought he was great. They started with him on Randall, which was not what I expected, but he might be the best Julius Randle defender on this team. Just an all-around awesome performance by Dub. Was he super efficient? No, but man, he was. What is going on in this chat right now? It was wild.
Off the rails.
This is amazing.
Jacob, I thought, like you said, J-Dub continued. It kind of felt like his series in a nutshell from the previous series in one game, right? Like the first half, he's doing all the things that we saw from him outside of scoring, but we still saw missed layups, missed free throws. Second half, he comes out super aggressive, getting to his spots, setting up teammates, and then he's making his shots. He's making his free throws. He hit a 3, like just a much more impressive second half offense performance from J-Dub, I thought.
Hey, Shai and Dub getting back to their bread and butter is what sparked that whole run.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, J-Dub's bread and butter is he'll give you an air ball. He'll give you one good air ball a game right now, but you take it and you move on.
Yeah. JD, what were you going to say whenever you tried to cut me off and steal my king of the prairie?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, should we talk about how now that the Thunder are in the Western Conference Finals, haters are coming out of the woodwork across all of social media, not just the Timberwolves fan base, but the Mavericks fan base, national media everywhere. Is that just a side effect of being further into the playoffs with more eyes on the Thunder for the first time, or is it?
That means you've made it.
That's what I think too.
Yep. You're the only show in town tonight. And so all of NBA Twitter is watching the Thunder. And I think a lot of them for the first time, or maybe not many times. And they're just parachuting into the Thunder discourse with no context of anything. And some of the takes are brutal. I also think you have a lot of butthurt Grizzlies and Nuggets fans that are trying to live vicariously through the Timberwolves.
Fans. Exactly.
I freaking love it.
Agreed.
Mo DeKeel going online, just tweeting some shit, man.
Just talking to talk.
Just saying stuff. I appreciate it.
It's like Matt Moore, who's still going off.
Still hurt.
72 hours later.
Insane.
But I did tweet this out, and I think it's true. You play against this defense of the Thunder. 29 opposing fan bases have to see this defense just completely lock their opposing players down. They're calling for fouls. They're so frustrated. Their favorite players can't do anything against this defense. And then you see them do what they're able to do offensively when they get into transition. And it's frustrating if you're an opposing fan base.
We have another super chat from our guy El Sombra Reggio 7. Jacob, I'd love you, since you were in attendance tonight, I'd love your take on this. He said, I'll take Paycom singing Move by Ludacris with some copious typos over Memphis's Whoop That Trick every day. That was striking on the podcast to hear Paycom Center reciting that.
I was not expecting that. If you saw on social media today, my girlfriend made a bingo card of watching playoff basketball with Jacob, singing Move by Ludacris in the Paycom Center in the fourth quarter. Not a bingo square.
Should have been.
Wasn't on the list.
Not a bingo square yet.
The crowd's been awesome. They sang the na 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 the song in the
that was also unexpected in game 7.
And that's so 90s. Get that out of here.
Yeah,
I kind of loved it.
I liked it.
Really? I don't know how I felt about that.
They also had some cool on the broadcast. The audio was horrible at first, but they had some cool drone shots of the city, and I just remembered what the city looked like when they were in the finals in 2012. It just looks completely different, and it's cool to show it off.
I thought that too, Silva. Some really cool shots.
It is interesting. Silva, I think you said something to this extent in our group chat, but it is wild to remember. It's been a minute since the Thunder have been in the Western Conference Finals. This is our first ever podcast about a Western Conference Finals game. Also, I meant to lead off with that, and I forgot. So shout out, yay for us. But it's kind of wild, the spectacle of it all. You've got Chet Holmgren doing an interview on the court while the Thunder are warming up, talking to Perk and Stephen A. Smith. That's wild. Then the second the game ends, you just have 45 minutes of SportsCenter, and it's all talking about Thunder Timberwolves. They have live clips from the post-game press conferences. They have interviews with Chet Holmgren. The depth of coverage that you get kind of goes hand in hand with the haters coming out on Twitter, right? It's just so much of an emphasis that is something we haven't experienced. There's not been this many eyeballs on Thunder basketball in quite some time.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of SportsCenter being in OKC and the NBA Countdown folks being in OKC, you think Perk's going to revisit that nail salon?
Oh my gosh.
What is that? I don't think I know what that is.
His wife.
When Perk's wife fist fought the woman at the nail salon?
Yeah.
That's badass.
Yeah. We have a super chat from Fred Van Skeet. We're going to find out about Ant-Man. How does he hold up with the hyenas? 5-22-9-8. Foaming at the mouth. Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Amazing.
Hey, we're 35 minutes into this podcast.
Yeah.
I would like to now talk about my goat.
Yeah, we haven't even touched on Caruso. I keep saying that.
The love of my life.
Haven't even touched Caruso yet. Touched every other player on this team tonight.
Taylor is a horny boy tonight.
Nick would tell you that's every night. But.
Someone get this man a thesaurus.
That's not. Someone get this man, and the next word being thesaurus is not what I was thinking where we were going with that.
He needs a lot of other things before he gets a thesaurus.
Never mind.
His speed just cut out. Oh, that's fantastic timing.
We know where Taylor's off to.
Poor guy. Get him off the stage.
Caruso, 22 minutes, 9 points on 3 of 3 shooting, 3 rebounds.
Caruso's insane. He's so good.
The ovation he got when he first checked in. I mean, dude, you might have thought like, I don't know. I'm struggling to think of someone who Oklahoma would cheer that loud for.
Baker Mayfield.
You might have thought Baker Mayfield and George Bush had a child, and they unveiled it at the Paycom Center the way they cheered for him.
Real question. Real question. Where would you rank Alex Caruso through, what is it now? 12 playoff games so far, right? Mathin'. Where would you rank him in terms of importance on this roster through 12 games? Not moving forward, but like to this point.
His
2 or
impact
3
in the first 12 games, number 2.
Yeah.
Phenomenal on both ends. Yeah, like again, guarding a big tonight, the versatility, and then to pop out and guard any number of wings for the Timberwolves, and then to hit 3 for 3 from behind the arc. The shot that was very much not there to start the season has been so consistent late in the season and into the playoffs. It's an irreplaceable addition to this Thunder team that's paying massive dividends.
It's not a shot at Josh Giddey because he's an awesome player. I think he's going to have success in Chicago. But to acquire a player who has been your second most important through 2 rounds and change for a player that was largely considered and statistically a liability this time last year is unreal.
Yeah, I totally agree. We have another super chat from Danny. Maybe Taylor should keep touching on Thunder players if they play like they did tonight.
Whatever it takes.
God.
Whatever it takes.
Take one for the team.
I am
team.
back. God put me in a horny jail and made my
God's about to put Caleb in the chat in horny
What?
jail.
Yeah.
What?
This man is on another level right now. All right, gentlemen, we've talked a lot about this game. Shout out to Ant Edwards, who was just straight garbage tonight.
It's not true. It's not true. It's not true.
He pissed his pants.
He was really good. He was really, really good in the first quarter and the first half. He did not play great in the second half.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that
That's
ankle?
fair.
Not sprain. I won't call it that.
Thank
yet.
you.
He has a little hurt ankle literally every game. He's fine.
Literally all 3 series, he's turned
He
his
does
ankle.
have like what looks to be a playoff-ending injury every game, and then he does come back.
Brother looks like he was in the back seat with JFK. Then he comes running out like Paul Pierce.
Jacob, since you have the headband on, I meant to ask you before we moved on to slandering Ant. Can you guess Alex Caruso's playoff 3-point percentage in this playoffs?
47%.
Higher.
Close. 45%.
Oh, wow. I thought it'd be in the
Hey.
50s.
It's tagging on to Nick's question earlier. Let's just go to fantasy land for a second. Taylor, keep your pants on. 7 more wins for OKC this playoffs. They get a title.
Jesus.
And what you've seen from Caruso in the first 9 wins is what you get for the next 7 wins. Where does he go on like the Thunder all-time fan favorite ranking?
I mean, he is high
If
up there
he
already.
helps get a title
after these last 2 series.
playing like he has been in this place. Is he top 5?
If
No.
it's just like fan vibes, maybe. But if it's like, are you saying best players?
I'm
No.
not saying best players.
No,
I'm saying
he's saying
fan favorite.
So
Maybe.
we're talking Russ, Carlson, Shai,
Feels like Steven Adams is up there, like guys like that.
He clears Steven if he wins a
Steven.
title,
That's
right?
my thought too. I think
That
you
right.
put him there
That's
at
I'm
4,
just
right?
saying, like they're
He's in-
the fan favorites.
He's in the Collison sphere. If this happens, maybe that's blasphemous because he's in the damn rafters. But
No, but I think it's
a title is
incredibly-
a title.
We've seen. I mean,
Yeah.
he's the catalyst of this current iteration of the Thunder, and we've seen the fans react to that in the playoffs.
Imagine the statue.
It can't. The fan
Put him-
favorites
Rub his head for
cannot
good luck
be-
before you go in the arena.
Put him riding Russell Westbrook's back. Just
It cannot
piggyback
be
ride.
Nick, Steven, and Alex. Those three cannot be on the fan favorite Rushmore. This isn't Utah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Russell
I
Westbrook
mean,
and Shai are
Russ,
in there as
Russ
well.
is up there.
Shay's up there.
I think there's
For
a
me,
little
KD
bit
is still up there. I'm sorry if
bias.
that hurts a lot of our listeners. KD is still up there for me. I know
Yeah.
for the average fan, he's probably not. but-
Poku's probably up there.
Hell yeah, Poku's up there.
Tank Commander.
Yeah, I don't
All right,
know.
we've fanboyed for quite some time. JD, I'm going to give you the floor if you want to piss on Ant a little bit more before we move on to looking forward to Game 2 and getting out of here.
This is obviously the best defense he's played all playoffs, and he is propped up as a potential face of the NBA type of player. But he's had some stinkers in the playoffs, and I've never watched Ant this closely, obviously. Like I've not had a playoff series against Ant. So this will be educating.
I
We'll see if he
expect him to come out a lot more aggressive in
Yeah.
Game 2 and to not take 13 shots in Game 2. I'd be shocked.
Agreed.
He'll take more shots. I don't know how efficient he'll be. I mean, part of it is Ant. I think a lot of it's the defense that gets played on Ant. And the Thunder just have guys after guys after guys they can throw at him, which has been really impressive. All right, before we get out of here, we know it's not going to be another. We assume, we don't know. We assume it's not going to be another blowout in Game 2. With that being said, Justin, I'm starting with you first. What is one thing that you need to see in Game 2 for the Thunder to take a 2-0 series lead up to Minnesota?
I'm going to say the same thing I said on our preview pod. Got to make shots. That's what did it. The defense was there all night. Minnesota scoring by quarter, 23, 25, 18, 22. It was there all night. Even when Randall was torching you, it was still there. What changed? 32 and 38 scored in the third and fourth quarter by Oklahoma City. They shot 60% in the second half compared to 30-something in the first half. When this team makes shots, that's when it gets scary, and they just haven't done it enough in this playoffs. So if they can make shots, and preferably make shots for a whole game and not just for a half, that's what I'm hoping to see in Game 2.
Awesome. JD, what do you need to see in Game 2 for the Thunder to take a 2-0 lead to Minnesota?
I think just a normal SGA night. I feel like if you just repeat what happened tonight, you expect some regression back to the mean from Minnesota's 3-point shooting. But if you counter that with a normal night from SGA, I think you still win. And I don't know, the depth is insane. The Thunder played 10 guys tonight, real minutes. 10 guys got real minutes. I don't know how many times that has happened.
Absolutely. Nick, I'm coming to you next, but before you answer the same question, Nick, one thought that popped into my head that I think you're the perfect guy to answer this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like Minnesota ran much zone tonight in comparison to what I thought they were going to run.
Yeah.
Nick, can you give me your thoughts on Minnesota's defense and mainly going man and not zone and what you think on that? And then follow that up with what you need to see from Game 2 for the Thunder to take a 2-0 series lead.
I don't know how to get this data today, right now, as we're talking. I would guess the Thunder maybe played more zone than Minnesota. Maybe. My hunch, like, I don't know if Finch talked about this post game, he may have, is that they felt if they shut off SGA, which they did for a good chunk of the game. Like he was in hell in the first half.
He was awful.
Like, he was in hell. That data would suggest in the postseason the other guys won't kill you, and they didn't in the first half. I think that was probably a strategy they employed in the first half in this game one in general, is that we think we have the guys that can play man. Maybe they'll change that in the second game. I don't know why they didn't run more zone, but I suspect they're not going to pivot straight to zone for game two. They'll probably play some more zone in game two. What I think needs to happen for a game two win, a double-digit first quarter lead at the end of the first quarter. Like, when's the last time the Thunder threw the first punch? Like, even the most recent Denver blowout, Denver was the better team early. Like, it's been a while. Game two of the Denver series.
Game 5, they went up 12-2, but then that early Denver timeout,
sure.
they
I'm talking end of the first quarter.
End of the first quarter, yeah, that's fair.
Because
that's fair.
I think while the Minnesota Timberwolves have come back against the Thunder very recently in the regular season, 25 down in the third, I think that at home in the postseason, the way your defense is playing, if you can go up double digits in the first, it might be over early.
Nick, one thing that you were saying, a thought I had, and Wade Johnson in the chat brought this up, but McDaniels and Rudy Gobert foul trouble there in the second half that opened up so many things for SGA. Yeah. And SGA took advantage of that, right? He was able to foul up McDaniels. But that is a reason I think that we saw a little bit different defense from Minnesota in the second half of the game.
It's a good point.
Taylor, what is your Thunder need to do this, or this needs to happen for Thunder to go up 2-0?
I think Nick kind of nailed it. I just kind of want to piggyback off of that. I think I mentioned this to Silva before you guys jumped on, but to me, the first and second half of this game one of the Western Conference Finals, was kind of like the Thunder last series in one game. You had the first half where the Thunder were missing free throws, missing 3-point shots, and missing layups. They weren't completely locked in defensively. Justin, I know you said that the defense was there all game, and I get it. That's what kept them kept it only being a 4-point game at halftime instead of a double-digit lead, right? But they still left open so many corner threes, and obviously we talked about Julius Randle, some of the corner threes that guys like McDaniels and others got, right? Like, I'm not sure they were completely locked in. I think game 2, you're going to get the best punch from Minnesota, and you have to be ready for that. And like Nick said, you have to be ready from the jump offensively, right? You have to do what you did in the second half, which is what the Thunder are best at, getting out in transition, getting those stops defensively, and that opens up the offense so much. That's going to lead to your role players hitting those shots that they haven't been hitting. We need to see more of that earlier on in the game.
Justin, what do the Thunder need to do to take a 2-0 lead headed to Minnesota?
I went first, buddy.
Oh, sorry. It's JD's turn.
I went also.
It's your turn,
It's up to you.
Dude, it's late. Is it just me left?
It's just you.
Nick, you want to go again?
I'd love to.
It is midnight.
I'm going to go with I thought Chet Holmgren had a very efficient night, 6 of 9 from the field, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 2 blocks. I'm going to go with a more dominant Chet performance. I thought what Chet did in the fourth quarter, the weak side rim protection, the offensive rebounds, the dunks, getting in the paint, he splashed a 3. It felt like in the fourth quarter, the first quarter felt like the Thunder were on their back foot defensively. They were reacting to a lot of what Minnesota was doing. That fourth quarter felt like the Thunder were on the front foot. They were forcing Minnesota to do what they wanted because of the defense. And I thought a lot of that was Chet, his weak side rim protection, his roaming in the paint, I think was significant. I want to see fourth quarter Chet from game 1 for 4 quarters from Chet in game 2. If that happens, I think it's a double-digit win again.
And it'd be awesome to see him hit some outside shots.
I texted JD, partially because I wanted to talk through it with JD. About 3 o'clock today, Silva? 2 o'clock? something like that.
Yeah.
We texted, and part of it was I want to talk to Silva. Part of it was I want the receipts. I kind of regret
not using you.
I kind of regret not going Thunder in 5. I wish I would have gone Thunder in 5, not Thunder in 6.
That's a spicy take after game 1.
This was before game 1.
Well,
is when I said game 1 just confirms to me my feelings.
Would you have brought this up if they had lost game 1?
Hell no, but I still have the receipts.
Exactly.
Silva, pump that outro music.
Okay.
Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. It is midnight. We still have a ton of people in the chat, so thank you so much. If you're watching the YouTube video, maybe on Wednesday, go ahead and drop a comment. If you're a Wolves fan, please drop a comment. We love reading those. Sub to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media. Scan that QR code, join the Patreon, or go to patreon.com/theuncontested. We'll be back Wednesday after game 2. Should be a win because Dave gave a super chat. I don't make the rules. I just follow what happens. We're out of here. See you Wednesday night. Until then, and always, Thunder up.